Hey there! If you're someone who works with or mentors apprentices, then you're in exactly the right place. We're about to walk through a super practical guide to safeguarding, one that's going to give you some real clarity and confidence in your role.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a scenario. Picture this. An apprentice you work with who's normally pretty chatty and engaged has just gone silent. They're withdrawn. Maybe they're missing deadlines. What's the first thing that pops into your head? What's your first move? Just take a second and think on that. It's in those moments, right, that your role becomes absolutely crucial.
I get it, this topic can feel a little heavy, and sometimes you're just not sure if you're doing the right thing. But don't worry, we're going to break it all down into clear, totally manageable steps. The good news is you're not expected to have all the answers. Just knowing the path to follow, that makes all the difference.
So first things first, let's get on the same page about what safeguarding really means when we're talking about an apprenticeship. Because it's not just some box-ticking exercise or a policy document gathering dust, right? It's an active, fundamental part of what you do as a mentor.
To put it simply, safeguarding is all about protecting your apprentices, and the goal is kind of threefold. First, you want to prevent harm before it even starts. Second, you need to be able to notice those early warning signs. And third, you have to act, and act promptly when a concern does come up to make sure your apprentice is safe and feels safe.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Apprenticeships have this unique twist. Your apprentice isn't just in a classroom, and they're not just at a workplace. They're trying to navigate both of these worlds at the same time, and that completely changes the whole safeguarding dynamic.
So you've got two key players. On one side, there's the training provider. They hold the main educational safeguarding duty. That means they've got to have a designated safeguarding lead, or a DSL. That's your go-to expert for any concerns. Then on the other side, you've got the employer. They're responsible for health and safety and, just creating a safe culture at work. It's a partnership, and you're that vital link right in the middle.
Okay, so you get the structure, but what are you actually looking for? Let's dive into some real-world examples, because these aren't just abstract ideas. These are the kinds of things mentors and colleagues are dealing with every single day.
Take this one. You've got a young apprentice, maybe it's their first time in a professional setting, and they're suddenly in the middle of this culture of so-called banter that just crosses a line. They feel really uncomfortable, but maybe they don't know who to tell, or they're worried they won't be taken seriously. That right there, that's a classic safeguarding concern.
Or how about this? Here you have a vulnerability, that new diagnosis, and it's made worse by a really negative interaction at work. The issue isn't just the shouting. It's about whether that apprentice is being supported the way they should be and protected from that kind of treatment.
And here's a third one that touches on some very modern risks. An apprentice who feels isolated and lonely is vulnerable, and that vulnerability can absolutely be exploited, in this case by extremist groups online. Your job is to notice that isolation and recognize it as a potential red flag.
You see, these examples all fall into a few key areas of concern. That last one we just saw, that's part of what's called the prevent duty, which is all about guarding against radicalization. Then there's online safety, which is huge. It covers everything from cyberbullying to scams. There's peer-on-peer abuse, which is when the problem is coming from other learners. And of course, safer recruitment, making sure the right people are working with apprentices to begin with.
Okay, this is so important. If you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this. It is not your job to be a detective. You don't have to prove anything. Your responsibility is actually much simpler. Notice something's not right, respond in a supportive way, and refer it to the right person. That's it.
And that brings us to the most practical part of all this, the how. You've noticed something, or an apprentice has actually come to you with a concern. What do you do in that moment? Let's walk through the 3 simple steps you need to take.
But hang on, first another quick check-in. An apprentice comes right up to you and says, "I don't feel safe here." What is the absolute first thing you do? The very first thing you say? Just pause for a second. Got it? Okay, let's see how that lines up with best practice. Here it is, 3 simple, steady steps. Listen, record, refer. This is your new mantra. Seriously, it's a rhythm that makes sure you act correctly and safely every single time. So let's break down that first step, shall we? Listening, well, it's not just sitting there quietly. It's an active skill. Find somewhere private. Don't fire a bunch of questions at them. Use gentle prompts like, "Tell me what's been happening." And this part is absolutely vital. Never, ever promise to keep something a secret. You have to be upfront and say something like, "Thank you for trusting me with this. I do need to share this with our designated safeguarding lead so we can get you the right help."
Now,
I can almost hear what some of you are thinking. But wait, what about privacy? What about GDPR? It's a really common worry, and honestly, it's what can cause people to hesitate when they shouldn't.
And the guidance on this couldn't be clearer. Privacy laws are there to keep people safe, not to become a barrier that stops you from protecting them from harm. When there's a risk of harm, the principle of safeguarding always comes first. So, the rule of thumb is incredibly simple. If you have a safeguarding concern, you share it. You share it with the DSL. You don't go telling uninvolved colleagues, and you certainly don't wait. You just pass it on. If you're in doubt, share. It's that simple.
You know, everything we've talked about so far has been about reacting to a concern, but the ultimate goal here is prevention. It's about creating a culture where these issues are way less likely to happen in the first place. This is about making safety feel normal, not like a crisis.
And you build that culture with small, regular actions. Make sure you're talking about the DSL and other support systems right from day one. Then start to weave what you could call micro-conversations into your regular check-ins. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be as simple as asking, how's everything going with the team? By asking everyone the same simple, open questions, you make it normal to talk about well-being. And that makes it so much easier for someone to speak up when something is actually wrong.
And that brings us right back to our core message. See? It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need any fancy language or complex theories. All you really need to remember is that simple, steady rhythm. Listen carefully, record accurately, and refer immediately.
So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Think about your next meeting, your next check-in with an apprentice. How can you, in a small, totally natural way, make safety a part of that conversation? Because it's those small actions, repeated over time, that build a truly safe culture for everyone.